all got little ones at home or here, but thank you. I feel very privileged to be part of this school and this community, and it's very exciting for me to be able to share my passion for creativity and the importance of it with our students. So it's wonderful for me to share that with you. And as Nestle said, we have 2 kids here. My husband is Scott. Most of you know him as the technology guy, or one of the technology guys. And I'm just really going to dive right in so we can get it all in. I have a lot to say. I'm an art therapist, a registered art therapist with a specialty in creativity development. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of background about myself and how I got into all that, how that happened. I grew up here on 86th Street, not very far away, so it's another wonderful reason that this school is so wonderful and close to us. And I was a painfully shy child, like painfully shy. Did not like to speak in public. With my family I was good, but not in public. So I relied on creativity to express myself all the time. Spent a lot of time drawing, spent a lot of time coloring and painting. In preschool, I basically camped out at the Play-Doh table. Here I am, camped out at the Play-Doh table. And that's basically what I relied upon to express myself. And I did that for a very, very long time. And then I got into sort of my higher education college years. I started raising my hand a little bit. And then I really started to focus on the science of creativity. Because it had been so useful to me, it really was sort of my link and my survival mechanism when I was growing up. I started to focus on why it was so important, the real science of it, what's happening in your brain when that creative process is happening. So I then went to graduate school and got a master's degree in art therapy and really focused on creativity development with children. And then I worked in the field for like 10 years, all throughout New York City, leading family art therapy groups with many different populations, but always with families. And I always used creativity to help them express themselves and help them connect with each other. And then I had these crazy guys. And that's exactly what happened to my life. It became sort of a zoo. And I stopped doing my art therapy work, but I did my creative work with my kids. And this is York, obviously a long time ago, and Naya. And York was my first, so he was, as I say, my sort of guinea pig. So it was a zoo, but we did manage to bring creative materials into our zoo, as you can see. So working with York, like just having creative materials with him and creating with him, was like my favorite thing to do. And I knew that was my field, but there was something else going on that was really powerful, and I was really trying to figure out what it was. And I realized that whether he was, when I was sitting with him, whether he was drawing with a pencil or a crayon, or sticking a fork in a piece of bagel that became a boat that sailed somewhere, I realized that in that moment with him, it was so important because I got this little window into everything about him, into his emotions, where his heart was, into his body, where his little fine motors were, what his body was capable of doing in that moment, into his mind, what he was thinking about. It all happened within that moment. And I thought that was pretty magical and pretty powerful. And then, all of a sudden, my baby brain started to fade and all my training started to kick back in. And I realized that it's not only a magical moment that's happening with my child and I. There's all these other amazing benefits of creativity. So now we're going to get sort of into the nitty-gritty, cold hard facts about the benefits of creativity. This is only a little portion of them. I was severely restricted by my technology person over here. So here you can see all the different ones. I'm just going to give you a couple of examples. Develops and strengthens gross and fine motor skills. If you can imagine a child in front of an easel with a paintbrush back and forth, a child sitting on a sidewalk with a big piece of chalk back and forth. This is gross movement, gross motor skills, big movements. Fine motor skills, you can imagine holding onto pencils, scribbling with crayons. Expressing and coping with feelings, it's the language of childhood. Creativity really is the language of childhood. Every child is born creative, and every child has it in them. That is how they speak, and even those who can express themselves verbally, but that is how they speak first, through creativity. With their voices, with their bodies, with their pencils, all different ways. Brain development, big thing. There's lots of studies on how creativity stimulates brain development. Actually, I'm not a scientist, so that, you know, it actually helps with the synapses. Things fire when you're being creative in your inspiration moment. And the rest, I'm not going to go into all of them, but you can see them. The last one is crucial for future success. I'm going to get into that a little bit later, but that has become a real focus, I think, for parents especially, that, you know, we're always concerned about our children being successful, whatever that means to us. It's different for all of us. But creativity, no matter who you are, is crucial for future success. So, I'm not the only person saying this stuff. I have some big people backing me up here. Pablo Picasso, every child is an artist. And he talks about the problem is we sort of lose it as we grow up. It's not easy. We're not living in that magical world anymore, and it's not easy to retain that. This guy, Sir Ken Robinson, who happens to be one of my favorites, he's an author, a speaker, and pretty much an all-around expert on creativity within education and the importance of it. So obviously he says it's as important as literacy and should be given the same amount of attention and time, same status. He's great. And then the almighty IBM. So IBM in 2010 did a survey of 1,500 CEOs across 60 countries and 33 industries. I remembered all the numbers. And what came out as the most crucial quality for success was creativity. It's the most important leadership quality. I mean, that's pretty big. You can't really argue with that one. So when you start to think about encouraging creativity in children, you think about helping the adults in their lives help the children. Keep that spark going. That's one thing that happens, I think, a lot in schools, especially the schools that are really trying to serve everybody. The importance of creativity gets lost and the time is cut. We're very lucky to be part of a school whose leadership really believes in this, and we have wonderful enrichment programs that are funded by the PTA that really provide amazing opportunities for our kids to create and express themselves. So that's excellent, and we're so thankful for that. And of course, I want more. So that's really where, you know, I came to Samantha and I was like, I want more. They need more. We need more. We all need more. So last month we did a teacher workshop. I did a teacher workshop with pretty much every single teacher, which was pretty awesome to see all those teachers in front of me. So basically gave them an opportunity to work hands-on with materials and gave them the 4 things needed to encourage creativity. I gave them time, I gave them space, materials, and permission to experiment and play. No product. I wasn't asking for a product, just a process. So encouraging them to focus on the process and to try to get into that childhood mind, that magical thinking, that creative thinking, so they could bring that back to their classrooms and encourage their students and the whole community around them. It was wonderful to see them. They all dove right in. Some worked individually, some worked together, some worked as a group. It was really amazing. So this little creation is, you can see right down here. This is the YCS school bus. And that was, I encouraged the teachers to bring their creations back to their classroom to spark some conversation with their students and really start some, storytelling, language development all around their creations. So this one was left on display in the library, this bus. And in my volunteering at the library, got the chance to hear a lot of conversations around this piece. And all the kids were like, what is this? You know, lots of different stories, lots of different imaginative stories came out of them. But all of the kids focused on these, I mean, these are egg cartons. You know, like they didn't really talk about the egg cartons, they talked about these Play-Doh containers, which I think are very, obviously, familiar to children, Play-Doh containers. But so interested, they're like, those are Play-Doh containers, but no, those are wheels. So it just opened the door. When we talk about innovative thinking, thinking outside the box, how that is so crucial for future success. Thank you. Sorry. So when we think about that, I mean, just the conversation, like they didn't even engage in the creation of that, the students. Just the conversation around that was huge. So, what's next? Okay, so now what we're doing inside the classrooms with the students. And this is as on a volunteer basis, as a PTA, as volunteers. I have to give a, excuse me, a special shout out to all the class parents who put up with my interesting ideas sometimes and really take these big materials I give you and really get it done. Go into the classrooms and get it done with the students. This was last year for the auction. Over 480 students got a blank oval, and it was their blank canvas, and they were able to do whatever they wanted on it. And some of them got to use new materials that they've never used before. And you know, think about, when you're looking at these pictures, think about that list of benefits. Okay, so you can even see the little fine motor skills that are going on here. And when you're talking about exploring new materials as well, there's a huge benefit there. Okay, so the other thing, so we started off this year with a bang with our fall festival project, those big pieces of cardboard that every class got to work on. So one of the other benefits of creativity is it relaxes you. And there's been a lot of studies about the relaxed brain, how when the brain is relaxed, it's better able to retain information, better able to learn. This guy looks pretty relaxed to me. So I think that he had a good learning day that day. This was just in the morning that we did this. Okay, let's see what's next. Okay, and now I'm just going to show you like a quick video of what it was like to walk through that maze, like once all those things got connected. Some of you probably saw this on Facebook, but another wonderful thing about when each class did this, so basically everybody, oh there we go. So this is what it looks like for a child to walk through here.
Or someone might.
Or him. So the other wonderful thing about this is that every child got their own piece of the board to work on. Whether or not it was, you know, measured out or not, every child got their own piece of their class board to work on. So they found their place within their class artistically, and then when you put it all together, every class found their place within the school and the community, and that is pretty awesome. So recently we started a sort of Play-Doh program in the kindergarten classes. We've done 2 kindergarten classes so far. We're gonna get to everybody. So I go in and actually bring the ingredients to make Play-Doh. You can see all the gross motor, fine motor, and the open-ended materials such as Play-Doh allow for anything. And a lot of times with kindergartners, when they're playing with this, they're just talking. All kinds of stories and language development. So that has been wonderful. So we still have some more classes to go, but that's been wonderful. And then our annual chalk party. This really started out as a just way to say thank you. We've done it for 2 years now as a way to say thank you. The whole community gathers just to bring chalk and say thank you to their teachers and whoever else in the school they've had experiences with through the year. And when you talk about expressing and coping with feelings, this is a biggie. The end of school is a lot of emotions around that. And whether it's been a good year or a bad year or an in-between year, giving them a chance to express it and be physical and be with their friends is amazing. And then, okay, so now I'm going to talk a little bit, and we also sent change boxes home too. Some of you are going to start seeing them. Ruth has one right there. So we sent those into the classroom before sending them home so kids could have some free time to create on those too. So the main point is giving them free creative time throughout their school day and fitting it in because there's a lot going on. But it's just as important, as you can see, as everything else that's going on here. So, okay, so at home, how do you support this at home? So just some very basic tips. Have a pad open all the time, a blank pad with a crayon or a pen or a pencil, whatever it is, open and accessible all the time for your kids. When your kids bring home artwork or they're doing something at home, please try to avoid asking them, what is that? What is this? Because I mean, many times we really have no idea. Replace it with tell me about this. Tell me about that. Really open-ended and allows them to really go into it for you. Kane's Arcade, some of you I'm sure have seen that. It's a wonderful movie online. It's like a 9-minute movie about this true story about this 8-year-old who built a whole arcade out of cardboard and inspired this sort of global movement of creativity. Somebody made a movie about him. The whole foundation started. It's called the Imagination Foundation, and they're inspiring creativity all over the world. And they obviously understand the benefits of it as well. So if you do that, make sure you have a cardboard box on hand because your kids will want to start going immediately. So designate a space or a box or a basket or whatever and save some recyclables. These like, paper towel rolls, toilet paper rolls, save them, have them around. Your kids will start doing something with them. And it really is amazing. You start to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. I mean, this is 7 years old, 5 years old. 'Tis the season for Jingle Bells. But anything that looks interesting to you. I mean, these are great because kids use them for all kinds of playthings and stuff too. But just making them accessible. So you're giving the 4 things again. You're giving your child time, you're giving them space, materials, and permission to play and explore. Displaying your children's artwork, really, really important. I know there's a lot of it that comes home. Sometimes there's mountains of it. Try to stick with what they're attached to, what they talk about, and have a little space for them. It could be the fridge, it could be the door, it could be a clothesline. I could do a whole workshop on that, of how to display it. And involve your children in the display. Like, when stuff gets old and they bring new stuff home, have your children help you replace them. That could be their job to replace it. It's really important to display. You're really validating their expressions and letting them know that you see them, really. Okay, now what? Moving on, I'm going to offer a complimentary parents workshop that was very similar to the one that we gave the teachers in January, sometime in January, and we'll let you know the date of that. Tell your friends, bring other parents. It's really amazing and really fun to get your hands messy a little bit. It doesn't have to be too messy if you don't like that. But you get so much, and you're so much to bring home to your kids as well. The Creators Workshop Facebook page, even if you're not on Facebook, you can go on there and just take a look every now and then. I give all kinds of different ideas of what to do with your kids creatively at home. Most of the time with stuff you already have in your house. So you don't have to go out and buy new art materials. Imagination Foundation is the website that came from Kane's Arcade. And that has lots of resources. Also lots of articles that you can read, sort of proof articles on all of this stuff. Technology has a posse. I would like a posse. I would like a creativity posse, please. So volunteer. Let me know. Come into those kindergarten classes with me. Just let me know what you can do and what you want to do, because we're going onward and upward from here. And that's it. Thank you so much. Thank you all.